Greetings from Texas. I want to talk with you about fixing the Lego NXT displays. I recently had a granddaughter ask me about doing some Lego robotics, so I started watching eBay, and from time to time I would see these Lego NXT kits, and there would be a disclaimer that the display didn't work. So I thought, man, I can fix that, I bet. Went on YouTube and watched, hunted around, saw that there were some claims that there was cold solder joints, and I didn't find that to be true at all. But the other claim was that this flex cable was not making good contact. So I thought, well, I can replace that, I'll bet. And it's not possible to find the actual replacement cable that is original in the product, but I'll show you what I did. I ended up replacing or getting these fixed on 6 different Lego controllers. Only built up parts for 4 complete kits, but ended up with several of these controllers and ended up totally destroying one of them. So hopefully I can keep you from having to destroy yours, and you can learn from my experiences. What we're going to do is replace it with replace that ribbon cable with some wires, and I think there's another guy that did something similar to this, only he tore apart a connector. I'm just going to use 28 gauge wire that's for patching up circuit boards. It's kind of a jumper cable material. I'm going to assume that you already are savvy enough to take your controller apart, that you can get it to this condition right here. We're going to take those menu buttons off, set it aside. Next thing we got to do is I want to take this stacked board off of here. It'll make it a whole lot easier for working on the display if we get it off. So there's wires that come from behind this speaker and go onto the circuit board, and we're going to carefully use a screwdriver and slowly pry that speaker loose from there. There's some double-sided sticky tape, and if you're careful, it'll slowly release. I use a screwdriver and just gently pried it. Now, these speakers are really cheap and easy to damage, and age has not been good to them. I ended up having to replace speakers too, and I'll show you what I used at the end of the video. Here's a speaker pried loose. You notice this one, it came clean from the plastic reel, by gentle persuasion, and did not leave any residue. You'll see some of these other pictures that I took where there is residue. Now, we need to get this riser board clear off of the controller, and to do that, we don't want to cut or unsolder these wires. What we'll do is we'll cut the plastic, just cut a channel in it, and I used some snips to do that. That allowed me to push the wire down through there and not have to worry about the speaker. Here you can see I've got the speaker laying to the side, and here you see I didn't have as much luck getting the double-sided tape to cleanly release. I'm going to take the riser board clear off now, using these 2 screws. Release these 2 screws, and then gently pull the board up out of this connector. This 10-pin connector. Just another view of what that all looks like. You see, I've got it lifted up off there. Okay, the next thing we got to do is lift this board up off of here, because we want to clean the contacts that are underneath the LCD display. going to stick my thumbnail underneath there and lift the board up, gently lifting it up to where I can set it, get it in an angle and pull it clear out. So there's quite a bit of that flex connector that was stuffed up underneath the LCD display. I'm going to take my scissors and snip that loose. It's just a plastic carbon connection that's in that flex cable. It cuts real easy, and there's like a clear plastic tape on both sides of the connector. We're going to scrape that loose now. I had a spudger from a phone that I had repaired, and we're going to use that to lift that plastic tape off of this side. There's plastic tape on the underneath side of the LCD also, so you're going to have to press down on that gently, get that to come loose. You can see those contacts there. And now I've got the tape lifted up on the top side, and we're going to end up with some residue here. That you can see this white and gray material. That's some sort of a residue left over from adhering the ribbon cable to the LCD glass. And there I've got it clear off. The ribbon cable is clear off. We're not going to leave it like this. This is just a kind of a carbon contact, and if you leave it there, you're going to have problems. With a pick and this eraser, I worked hard at getting this clean. Now you see that there's a kind of a protective film on top of the glass. We're gonna get all of this clear. You're gonna say, well, what's underneath there? It's just glass. Well, you're right. There's just glass, but there's a real light gold film that this is in contact with, that's been deposited on the glass. Here's another view of what that nasty stuff looks like. And we're going to start working at clearing it off. Here you can see it's lifted off, and what it looks like partially removed. If you look real close, you can see the gold film that was deposited on the glass for conduction. And here's another view with it all cleared off. Now I did go ahead and take some isopropyl and clean that real gently. Our wires are going to be formed to contact this gold layer on the glass. And if it's not a good, clean, solid contact, you're going to have problems. Now on the board, we've got to do the same thing. We're going to take the tape off. And now we've got to clean these copper pads so that we can solder to them. Now, if it looks like this, you can't solder. You got to get to the point where you're looking at the copper. Here's what it looks like when you get it partially removed and totally removed. So whatever this junk is in the ribbon cable is what was left on the copper pads, and that's got to be removed. Here is where I've tinned them, getting ready to put the wire on. And I'm using some 28 gauge tinned copper wire. There's no enamel on it or anything like that. It's just a bare solder, bare wire with solder on it. And here I am putting the wires on. And this is very tedious, time consuming. You got to be real careful not to end up with any solder between the pads. And then as you're putting the wire on, it's quite a bit of art in getting that done cleanly. Another look at the wires soldered on there. Once you get all 12 wires on there, you're going to bend them up so that you can get back around behind the glass and back up on top of the glass. To make it look pretty, I set a drill bit down on there. I think that's just a 3/16 bit that allowed me to get a nice rounded over edge. Here I am making sure that it butts up against a flat surface cleanly. It does come in underneath the plastic, the LCD and hit up against the plastic back. And I found that I couldn't rely on the flex of the wire, the springiness of the wire to make good contact. I had to have something assist, and so I got some craft foam, and you'll see that I leave the craft foam in there to push down on the wire and give that contact some force. You notice that this is before I realized that I needed to get all that gummy material removed, and so I'm working with the contacts and the glass before I've got it all cleaned up. And again, you can see I've got contacts formed. What I did was I pushed the board into place while the wires were still aimed back here, and then I bent the wires up and around to where they once this was pushed in, I bent the wires up around that way that they were pretty much the right length. Took quite a little while to develop the technique. That was the way that I like to have it look, but while you're developing the technique to do it, they can be kind of sad looking. Here's where I was experimenting with just the flex of the wire, the springiness of the wire, and that didn't work very good. It needed to have that spongy material pushing the wire so that there would be good contact. Here's while I'm getting ready to push it into place, and there it's pushed into place. You're going to have a little bit of a challenge with planarization of the wire and making sure that they all contact the glass with an even pressure. So that's just where there's some art involved, and you'll have to do the best you can. Close-up view. If you look close, you can see the gold deposition on the glass, and very carefully aligned each one of these contacts with the gold on the glass so that it's going to work. If you leave that paper on there, it will work. You can see right there I've got a good display, but over a little bit of time they'll draw moisture, or for whatever reason it will stop being a good contact, and you'll have problems with the display. Let's put it all back together. When I was putting it back together, I would realize that this speaker just doesn't work very good, mostly because maybe I had touched it with my finger, the cone side, and caused problems. So this is the speaker that I ended up buying. It's well worth the purchase. I think that they were about $2.50 a piece from Mauser, and you got the part number, everything right there. So I wish you good luck in repairing these NXT displays.